What's up, people? My name is Mex. I'm a wrestling fan, wrestling enthusiast, WrestleManiac, if you will. You tuned into the WrestleManiac UK YouTube channel. Good morning, on top of everything, because it's 7:42 in the morning right now. Just finished watching All Out over on the Wrestling's channel. You can see the All Out watch along that we did. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. If you tuned in, if you want to see some reactions, especially to the main event segment, tune in on the Wrestling's channel to see what has happened. But since then, we've had the AEW media scrum. I've literally come from the studio straight home, an hour and a 20-minute drive, and all of this has happened. Obviously, the media scrum started just before we left anyway, but I didn't know to the extent of, the pipe bomb that was going to be dropped by CM Punk. So CM Punk's obviously come out as a world champion, and nothing he has really discussed in the media scrum is about him winning back his world championship. This was CM Punk shooting hard, like crazy stuff. Like I'm gonna get into in just a second, everything I think about CM Punk and these kind of, is this necessary? Like, is this completely necessary for him to kind of go into business? I mean, there's a lot of stuff where he's kind of complaining about people going into business for themselves. And I'm thinking, you, CM Punk, you're talking about people going into business for yourself. Just even as like an elder statesman of the locker room, is this something you should be doing? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure this is the best way to conduct yourself. Tony Khan's sitting right next to him. It's like this is your world champion, mate, and this is what he's making the company look like. Yeah, it's not the best. It's really not the best. So yeah, I'm gonna get into it in a second, guys. Like I said, I've come from one watch along straight to give you guys this tea here. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. And yeah, getting straight into it. So CM Punk started the media scrum. He was basically taking shots at Colt Cabana, and they're talking about their past, obviously. And CM Punk is kind of shooting down rumors that he got Colt Cabana sacked, or tried to get him sacked, should I say? He's discussed the EVPs and issues with the EVPs. He's discussed Hangman, using some really abrasive terms about Hangman, MJF as well. I'm going to get into a report by Fightful. I'm just going to literally read off this report so that you guys, have this information. CM Punk garnered an incredible amount of heat for his comments at the AEW All Out post-show scrum. For the record, Fightful originally reported the Punk Cabana news this year, and we've never spoken to Kenny Omega or the Young Bucks outside of interviews. The story emerged from talent frustrated and under the impression that Punk and Cabana's ill will towards one another cost the well-liked Cabana a job he was enjoying. Tony Khan denied that was the reason this past week. Cabana eventually got put on Ring of Honor duty. We're told that Cabana had indicated to Khan before Punk's original return that he'd likely not be happy working there if Punk was in the company. CM Punk garnered an incredible amount of heat for his comments at the AEW All Out post-show scrum. Punk ran down his history with Colt Cabana and targeted Hangman Page and the EVPs, Omega and the Bucks. Punk said Hangman went into business for himself and almost compromised a huge AEW gate, and said the EVPs leaked info. Immediately after the Scrum rant, Talent had informed Fightful that Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks were extremely pissed off, and one claimed that they were threatening to walk over the comments. Fightful Select but had heard prior that at least one of the Young Bucks had been in contact with Talent outside of AEW, indicating that many of the rumors heard about Punk and the frustration around him were true. We're told the Elite was scheduled for the Scrum, but an adjustment was made. Around then, security went around the Scrum area in a hurry. We haven't learned if this was related to this situation, but all of this information filtered in at the same time. We're obviously cognizant of a work in this type of situation. Yeah, could all be fake. But talent were contacted were under the impression the situation was that of a real one. One way or another, we'll work to learn details and try to confirm. The heat between Punk and Cabana, as well as Punk towards Hangman Page, have long been real. Regardless of this situation, Fightful Select has already heard of several talent that are very upset with his comments. We will also work to gain some stances from those who side with him on the matters. Tony Khan was at the AEW media scrum throughout the entirety of the situation. Yeah, Tony Khan was seated the whole thing. Not mentioned in that article by Fightful, it was obviously MJF. He was asked about MJF, Punk was, and he said that, he's tired of dealing with these pricks. He's tired of dealing with these kids that think they know better, that they think the grass is greener elsewhere. The grass is only green where you water it. If he basically puts in work in AEW, then AEW will be what he wants it to be, rather than having to go over to WWE. That obviously he mentioned, like the likes of himself, the likes of John Moxley have been over in WWE, and they didn't enjoy it for whatever reason. They were never the top guys they should have been, or they believe they should have been, and they're now obviously where they are in AEW. I don't see how this is a work. I don't see how this is the work at all. There's been so much said about these, AEW situation, backstage stuff for the last couple of weeks now, especially. The people don't want to believe it. Oh, yeah, it's all fine. It's a work. It's this, it's that. Like, there's no smoke without fire. We all know the saying, even if it's something they're going to turn into a work, this would have originally been a real situation. So it seems to me that, Punk is doing a lot more damage than good in AEW since his arrival. Before this, we used to hear a lot of, this is a lot of harmony backstage in AEW, and that really hasn't been the case, for quite a while. It just looks very unprofessional to me. And for me, like, obviously, older wrestling fans and stuff like that will be like, this kind of stuff happens in wrestling. There's egos, this, that, and the other, and I can appreciate that. But for me, I just feel like a company that we've all kind of invested so much into, they're kind of, I wouldn't say falling apart, that's dramatic, but they're having these very public issues in front of us, and none of this really needs to be public, and it takes away from the product. And just, we're involved in politics right now, if you see what I mean. Like, it's just not very cool. I mean, I should be sitting here, talking about AEW All Out, MJF's return. I'm not. I'm here, talking about what's happened. This is the biggest story. This has eclipsed everything else that's happened on the night. Nothing else. MJF's return, you could say, is important, but this is eclipsed that. And just on that note, I'm sure this is how Wardlow felt when, the whole MJF is not going to show up for his match. Stuff was happening. That Wardlow, well, this was my big moment, and some other stuff has eclipsed it. And this is exactly what's happened to MJF now. This was my big moment, my big return, and something else has eclipsed it. So yeah, it's not the best. This is a very unprofessional, the way this is all being dealt with, it stinks. Let's just be completely honest. It completely stinks. We shouldn't really know of all of this stuff happening. Like, too much is coming out, and which makes me believe, like I say, that this isn't a work. This is real life stuff that's happening. some journalists have come out on Twitter and stuff that were at the media scrum and confirmed that security ran out of the media scrum. I don't know, maybe to go and stop something happening backstage, or obviously some issue with the talent. They're not going to pretend that never happened, because real human beings have come out and said that's exactly what has happened backstage. So it's just a very, very techie situation. This is the older statesman in CM Punk that should be coming and diffusing a lot of these situations and spreading his knowledge backstage. This shouldn't be the case of we're airing stuff that's happening in the company. AEW, they've prided themselves. They've tried to be transparent with their fans, which is commendable. But look where it's left them. Like, there's a line. You see what I mean? There's a line which has been crossed at this point, and we're now getting far too much information that we need, and it just looks poor. Like, this is very, very poor. Like, it's just being managed. And even like CM Punk is sitting there ripping into talent, and Tony can't stop him. Like, there's not even like a look that says, all right, Phil or CM Punk, like, leave it here, sort of thing. And then if CM Punk, blows past Tony and cusses and wants to continue cussing, then you could at least say the man in charge has tried and couldn't stop him, or whatever the case is. Like, I'm not really sure I believe in TK just sitting there and then letting him, tear apart the company. He's tearing apart MJF, which is going to be, a future big star if he sticks around in this company. Hangman, that has been a world champion earlier this year. The EVPs that have been world champions, whether it's tag team or, the AEW world championship, singles title. This is everything that this company has built up in the before the last year. And CM Punk it's almost like a bit of a poison or something, just kind of spreading. And again, this is only since he's come in. I don't know if you guys can think back to a time before summer 2021 when anyone had anything bad to say about AEW talent wise. Anyone? Because I can't think of a situation where talent were at loggerheads like this before summer last year. It's only since summer last year where CM Punk came in where a lot of these issues have begun to arise. And it's poor. It's poor, and it's making the company, like I said, like, by no means, I don't want to sound dramatic and say AEW are falling apart. They're not falling apart, but there seems to be a poison from within that's spreading, and it's only going to leave people not wanting to show up, waiting for their contract to expire and move on, and this, that, and the other. Like, that's the result of these situations. People will play ball, and if they're going to see their leader not really do anything about these situations, then it's like, what, whose back does the leader have? Like, the man that's tearing apart our locker room, or mine? Do I feel safe here? Is this a working environment I want to work in? And again, we can't help but not mention a lot of good things are happening in WWE right now. The beloved Triple H is in charge. He's brought back a lot of people that he likes working with. There's people in AEW saying that they'll run through brick walls and die for Triple H. There is other places to work. Same way we used to say with WWE that people shouldn't be tolerating this. There's other places to work now in AEW. Boy, we're saying the same thing the other way now. With AEW, guys, there's other places to work. What All Out, I think, I don't know when I'm going to get around to discussing All Out, if I do in general, because I thought the show just felt like an extended Dynamite. There was maybe 2 to 3 things on there that felt pay-per-view-ish, including MJF's return in the, following CM Punk's title win. But then here we are. We're not talking about anything to do with All Out as a show. We're talking about the fallout of All Out. the media scrum, and CM Punk just going off. Like, I can't imagine, maybe even as talent, you're tuning in remotely on your phone or whatever to see the media scrum following the show. And the feed starts by CM Punk ripping a new one on a journalist, talking about fake journalists or bad journalism, this, that, and the other, talking about Colt Cabana, cussing and blinding about Hangman Page, the EVPs, MJF, and the other talents. I'm sick of these young pricks. I'm sick of these young kids. Come on, man. This isn't how you conduct yourself. Like, I don't know how angry he must have been, but yeah, this isn't the comparisons with WCW. Yeah, they're gonna come again. They're basically gonna come again, because this is again how WCW was looking. Just shambles. Who runs the roost here? The talent or the people in charge? And funny enough, Tony Khan, we know, has recently just hired like a whole new backstage team that's going to help with talent relations and this, that, and the other. They got a job on them tonight. They have a job on them tonight, because this is a disaster. This is a disaster. You put on a 4.5 hour show, longer than that if you include the pre-show, and no one's talking about the show. This is what we're all talking about. And you sat there as the leader, as the CEO, and allowed a man to basically go off and overshadow the whole pay-per-view you put on. Like, this was the pay-per-view. Really, really and truly, this was the pay-per-view. Because, like I said already, I don't think All Out was anywhere good. And that, there may be a lack of harmony backstage, which has caused All Out to be a pretty average show. I don't want to be harsh, but I think I've seen Dynamite is better than All Out was. Again, there was a few select things that were very good. The trios match, for the titles, because there was hella trios matches on this card. The tag team champions match as well was very good, and the main event and the segment that followed with the MJF reveal. Even I was commending. You can watch, like I said, the rest things watch along is there. We were asking ourselves at the time when the Joker appeared and just got the chip handed to him. All right, well, TK must be in cahoots with this. It later showed us that TK was in cahoots. And I said, yes, now I feel like I'm watching AEW. This is because this is a show that tends to make sense. And then obviously the show ended. Probably should have been maybe a beatdown of Punk at the end. Maybe that's up for argument. That's up for discussion. But we then move forward to this media scrum and just going off. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff that's being still released by journalists that were present at the media scrum. I just can't believe that, this is where we are with AEW. A place that was so harmonious, no one had anything bad to say. This is where we are. The talking point out of one of your biggest pay-per-views of the year is now how your world champion has gone off. And of course, he's allowed to say what he wants. Please don't take this as, he shouldn't speak. But is this how it should have been done, or where it should have been done? Should the dust have been allowed to settle, and then you can come out during the week and say something on some podcast or some radio show or something? Like, I don't know. I really don't know. Like, I'm just trying not to be too harsh and stuff. I'm just saying what I see, and what I see isn't good. I want the best for AEW. And yeah, this was very kind of immature. It's very lame. I don't think it's a work. I'm not even going to go down the road of entertaining. It's a work. Yeah, they could turn it into one, but this is CM Punk, ladies and gentlemen. We wanted CM Punk back in wrestling. This is what we've got. But ultimately, it's now tearing down people that we really enjoy. Look at the EVPs. They said the EVPs are threatened to walk out Imagine that. We've already seen one walk out in Cody and join the other side. Now these other guys that have stuck around, you know, it's just gonna put a bad taste in people's mouth, man. There's no way to look at it, because if anything, this is a company that they built, and they're gonna look at, all right, this is the man that we brought in to manage the ship, especially while we're still active performers. And what has Tony Khan showed leadership here? Has he showed, that he can control situations like this? He's let a man sit next to him and degrade his talent, effing blind about what's happening backstage, and then shook his hand afterwards and handed him his world championship. Save it by turning it into something if you guys can. Of course, I'll still be invested, but this is a shit show. Excuse my language. This is poor. This is bad. I guess we'll wait to see the fallout. There will be a lot more that comes out. Maybe, the EVP that threatened to walk out, or whatever happened with the security guard that's darted out of the media scrum to go and clearly squash some beef. Maybe all of that will come to light. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I guess this is the ugly side of wrestling, or the other side of wrestling. A very kind of egotistical business, where people go into business for themselves and trying to get themselves over. They want to set the record straight. I just really don't believe that TK handled this well. I have to put it on him because he's the guy that's in charge. I don't think he handled any of this well on the night. And Punk, especially with how Punk has gone on over the last 7 years about how he left WWE and this, that, and the other, and now he's the elder statesman and he wants to put people over. I didn't see him put over anyone. I didn't see him put over the World Championship tonight, which Moxley has put on the map and done a fantastic job over the last few months. And now we've basically given it to like a crybaby, that he's got his way and he's crying and he's moaning and he's calling people out and he's again, I don't want to be too dramatic and use words like burying, but how he talked about Hangman, MJF, and the EVPs tonight is disgusting. That's not how you talk about your colleagues out in the open as well. Like, if this was something behind closed doors and then man had a bust up and we only heard, okay, there was a bust up between these guys, but they squashed it now, then cool. But you don't speak publicly about your colleagues. The EVPs. I'm sorry, these are people that you're answering to as EVPs ultimately, and this is how you're speaking about them. It's very weird, guys. It's very, very weird. Like, I don't mind. Like, we saw, a lot of us would have seen the WWE Clash of the Castle media scrum or press conference afterwards, pretty much done in kayfabe. Everyone was really still in character and, said what they needed to say and got out of there. These have tended to be a bit more real shootish, if you like, AEW ones, but this was a different level. This was a different level tonight. But yeah, like I say, it's taken away from All Out as a show. It's taken away from MJF's big return. And I don't think there's any reason why the world champion, newly crowned world champion, should come out straight after the show and be targeting and drawing out whatever's happening backstage. It's mad. It's very mad to me. It's very unprofessional. But we shall wait to see the fallout. I didn't intend on finishing one live stream with the rest things, boys, and then coming over to my channel and jumping and doing this. So I hope you guys appreciate it. Hit the like button. I appreciate that. I've still got to edit my vlog from my weekend at Clash at the Castle. I'm gonna try and get that out for you guys later on today. So definitely check that out when it lands. But let me know down below in the comments your thoughts on all of this. Do you think this is a work? I don't, but if you think it's a work, let me know. What's your general thoughts of CM Punk and the way this was handled, how he handled it, how TK handled it? Let me know. I'm disappointed, but I'm not shocked. I want the best for this company, but right now it's going to poo. But more than anything, I'm saying it like I know these man personally. I am not happy with the way he's spoken about Punk, MJF, and the EVPs. I think that's bang out of order. You chat to me about you talk to me like that. If we're colleagues and stuff, like we have a problem. We have a real problem. So and it doesn't surprise me about this whole story of the security running out and whether the security went to squash beef in the back, or maybe they heard that the EVPs were making a way towards the media scrum. Who knows? Of course, his ego's involved on all sides. Excuse me, but this isn't on, man. This isn't on. He said he's come here to put people over. I didn't see it in that 20 minutes or so that he was in that media scrum. I didn't see it. I saw him, again, I don't want to be dramatic, but I saw him burying a company, like, and going into business for himself. All the stuff that people have always said that this guy does, and he's denied. This is the side of CM Punk that, I guess no one wants to admit he's capable of. So yeah. I'm just checking one last time that nothing else has come out. It doesn't look like it. It looks like that's our lot for now. I'm just checking different outlets. Tony Khan's apparently crying victim for something. Whatever. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks threatening to leave AEW after CM Punk rant following All Out. Yeah, I don't know about they said they'll walk out. I don't know about threatening to leave AEW. That might sound a bit, some publications might be stretching it. There's going to be a lot of stuff on the timeline today, guys, whether it's Twitter or whatever you watch or get your news from. So just be careful in it. There's going to be a lot of, stuff that's not credible being said. So don't jump to conclusions. Obviously, with our two eyes, we saw what we saw. So we can believe certain bits because we have seen it happen with our two eyes. And I always go to Fightful because Fightful are probably one of the most trusted sources out there, if not the most trusted source out there. So, yeah. I can see Tizzy in the comments. They said Tony Khan needs to get control back real quick and in a hurry. I'll end on that note because it's facts. He needs to get control back of his company. Guys, I'm tired. I've literally went from Cardiff to doing the AEW watch along on the Rest Things channel. Again, check out that if you want to see some of our reactions to the live show of All Out. To coming back home and doing this live stream for you to just deliver this Punk news to you for those of you that are literally waking up because it is morning, waking up to go to work, go to school, go to uni, do whatever you do, create content just to deliver this to you guys so you guys have it hot off the press if you have not seen it. So, I'll appreciate if you drop a like. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. And like I say, please put in the comments your thoughts on all of this. Is this a work? Do you think it's a work? If not, what's your thoughts on Tony Khan, how he dealt with it, CM Punk, how he's dealt with it? And yeah, just jump in the comments. Let's talk about All Out. And let's see, like I said, I'm going to try and talk All Out later on if I get some time. We shall see. All Out's no longer the big story. CM Punk shooting on his company, his colleagues, that's now stolen the headlines. So Like I said, I appreciate you guys tuning in. WrestleManiac UK signing out, and I'll see you soon.